Welcome back to Classic Film Voyages. I'm Vincent. Today our first film is Sherlock Holmes and the Voice of Terror from 1942. This is the first film that Universal Studios produced, and they made the decision out of economic necessity and the fact that World War II was very much ongoing to bring Sherlock Holmes into the modern day. The studio figured that audiences would want to see a character like Holmes tackling problems that were relevant to their lives. Now, I think a decision or a conversation was made like this. Well, hello, Clyde. How you doing? Oh, I'm just doing great, Steve. Just great. Well, that's great, Clyde. That's just great. We got these Sherlock Holmes stories, and, well, we need to bring them into the modern day. Yeah, we do. You're right. Well, I got another idea. Why don't we have Sherlock Holmes fight the Nazis? I think the audiences will love it. Yeah, that's good. Let's do that. Okay. And so we got one of 3 films in which Holmes fights Nazis, spies, or espionage agents. Yeah, to be honest with you, I don't really like this one. I just don't like Sherlock Holmes fighting the Nazis. I mean, they're entertaining, and the film's only like an hour and 10 minutes, so that's good. But overall, in the 14-film series, I rank these ones where they have him fighting Nazis really low on the list. I mean, they do have some good, there are great things about it, such as there's really great acting, good chemistry, there's use of shadow and light in this film that works well. But, the idea for this film is that the Nazis are waging a campaign of terror against the British, and the government is spread thin. They can't solve this really complicated problem, so they have to rely on an outsider, Sherlock Holmes, and his brilliant mind of scientific reason and deduction to solve the problem for them. And I just, it's weird. It's a weird idea, having Sherlock Holmes fight the Nazis. He just seems a bit too cerebral a character for me. Like Indiana Jones, yeah, I could see that guy fighting Nazis. Sherlock Holmes. And it's weird too, because at the end of these films, Holmes is the one who always ends up giving a speech. At the end of this film, he's like, well, Watson, a storm is coming, and we're gonna have to weather it. I mean, okay, that's cool. I mean, I'm not knocking the performances of Rathbone Bruce or Evelyn Ankers, although her accent is, she's like, oh, I'm English, with a very Californian accent, so it's just like, couldn't have done a better accent on that one, huh, Evelyn? Oh well. But, yeah, I mean, you can't fault the actors. I just sort of think the idea was creative somewhat, but kind of a misfire. And these 3 films are not my cup of tea, really, when it comes to Holmes films. They're still entertaining, and I'll still give them a watch. And you should too. I mean, they are fun in a sense. And if you're a person who enjoys spies or thrillers or wants to see how Holmes solves these problems, then you might like them. They're just not high for me. Anyway, this was Sherlock Holmes and the Voice of Terror, and our next film review will be Sherlock Holmes in Washington.